Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you play a song called Scar by Lucy Rose. And it starts out with some really cool intro licks around some chords. And we'll talk about some really easy ways to play this and kind of try and talk about a lot of the licks through the tune too, because there's some awesome guitar work through this. But we start out on a G major chord through the intro and our verse progression. And the way you play G major, first finger goes to A on the second fret, second finger on the low E third fret, and third finger on the high E third fret. And if you strum all those together, it sounds a G major chord and it sounds really happy. Now you may also dig on putting the third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, and kind of working that for your G major. And from the G, we'd be going to an E minor chord. And normally you do that first finger on the A second, second finger on the D second. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord and it sounds really sad. Now you may also dig on putting the third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, kind of working that as an E minor 7. And then from the E minor, we'd be going to a B minor. There's some really easy ways to play this. Normally you do this as a second fret bar, second finger on the B third, third finger on the D fourth, pinky on the G fourth. And if you strum all those together, the sad sound of E minor. Now you may also want to think about lifting the pinky and making that a B minor 7. Or another way to play B minor 7 is to do first finger on the A second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the high E second, and working that for the B minor. Or you may dig on another B minor, I love because of the G voicing in the E minor 7, where you do first finger on the A second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, kind of working that idea for your B minor. Or you may even dig on lifting off the pinky and making that a B minor 11. Might be kind of a cool option too. And then from the B minor, we'd be going to a D major chord. And normally you do this first finger on the G second, second finger on the high E second, and third finger on the B third. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, the beautiful sounds of D major. Now, especially on the chorus, you'll definitely hear some cool licks though, where you could lift the second finger and make that a D sus2. Or you could add in the pinky on the high E third for the suspended chord and kind of say some stuff around the D major. And if you're looking for a really easy way to play through the tune, actually, a couple strumming options you may want to play around with. You could do kind of a down count through that intro in the verse, kind of that G, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, E minor. So I'm just kind of doing like an 8 down count and adding a little bit of muting with the right hand. So G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, E minor. E minor, D. Or one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, down, up. So we took the G and just tried that a lot. You got down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, down, up, down. So for our main progression, you got the G, E minor, E minor. Actually, because of that bass groove, I was digging on kind of a 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot to the beat, right now we're dividing that beat into two parts with our down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I was really digging on is a down, up, down, up, down, up 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you take the G and do a down on 1, up on 4. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's what you'd be doing on the first beat. And on the second beat, you do it up on 2, down on 3. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. And then on the third beat, you do it up on 2, up on 4. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, 1, up, 1, up. And then on the last beat, you'd be going down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, 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 down. So all together, you got down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. Which would be kind of fast at tempo, but you have the G, E minor, E minor. wanted to follow those, you can start third on the B string, open E, second on the high E, fifth on the high E, and then open B, and then third on the B, open E, and then 7 on the high E, and then 2 on the high E. And then we go back to third B, and then third on the B, open E, second on the high E, fifth on the high E, and then open B. I am adding a few notes here that aren't there to kind of match this with the recording. But then you go to 7 on the high E, and then 2 on the high E, and another 2 on the high E. So if you want to kind of follow those notes, it's kind of that D, E, F sharp, A, B, D, E, B, F sharp, B, D, E, F sharp, A, B, B, F sharp, and I'm kind of throwing another F sharp. Now you could kind of put that together with some of the bass notes that are backing it up and kind of end up with this cool random 2-part where you could do third on the low E with third on the B string to start it off. And I'm kind of doing that finger style. You may want to try hybrid picking using a pick and a finger. But 3 on the low E with the third on the B, open E, 2 on the high E, fifth on the high E, and then open E with the open B string, and then 2 on the A string with the third on the B, open E, 7 on the high E, 2 on the high E, and then open D for the third on the B. And then almost kind of starting that over again. 3 on the low E with the third on the B, open E, second on the high E, fifth on the high E, open E and open B together, and then 7 on the high E to second on the A with the second on the high E, and then the open D with the second on the high E. So I'm kind of putting a couple guitar parts together, but I thought that was kind of a cool way to kind of work it for the intro. A really cool little melodic line there. So you want to kind of experiment with that. You may want to pause the video right now and just look at that tab and kind of try and follow that. I just thought that was really groovy. And then from there we go into our verse progression. Our verse progression is actually exactly the same chord-wise, but you will hear this other lick come out where you could play 4th fret on the D as kind of a hammer on the 5th fret, and then back to 4th on the D, and then open D. So that lick kind of goes through the tune actually, or through the verses, kind of that 4, 5, 4, 0, 4, 5, 4, 0, 4, 5, 4, 0, 4, 5, 4, 0. And if you wanted to, you could kind of back that up with those bass notes by doing 3rd fret on the low E string for the 4, 5, 4, 0. And you may want to redo that. And then adding in the open E, kind of implying the E minor chord. And then 2nd on the A string for the B note. And then you'll have to go to 5th fret on the A string for a D note to kind of get that. But I thought that was another cool way. You may want to kind of break it down in a kind of a 2-part. G and F sharp, G, F sharp, D, and then with the E, and then with the B, and then with the D. And you're going to have to kind of play around with which finger is going to work through that part. But I just thought that was a really cool melody line. And we'll basically be repeating that 4 times for our verses, kind of through our main progression, until we get to our pre-chorus part. And on the pre-chorus part, you'll hear this cool little lick come in where you go 7 on the low E to 7 on the G string, and then back to 7 on the low E, 5th on the low E to 6 on the G, back to 5th on the low E, 3rd on the low E to 4th on the G, back to 3rd on the low E, 2nd on the low E to 2nd on the G, 2nd on the low E, and then open E, 1st fret on the G string, and then almost kind of like a little piece of our G chord actually at the very end, kind of a little strum over the E, A, D, and G around the G chord. So through that part you got kind of 7, 7, 7, 5, 6, 5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, open, 1, G chord. And the chords that would back that up would kind of start on the B minor, but then we would go to an A major chord. And normally you do this 1st finger on the D second, 2nd finger on the G second, 3rd finger on the B second. If you strum all those together, that sounds like an A major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now around A's in general, you may want to think about lifting the 3rd finger, making it an A sus2, We're adding in the pinky on the B third for an A suspended chord and kind of saying some stuff around the A. Or especially if you're digging on that other B minor voicing, you may dig on an A7 sus. By doing first finger on the D second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, kind of working that for the A. So we have kind of that B minor, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, and then we go to a G, 2, 3, 4. And then for that F sharp note on the low E string, you may want to back that up with the D chord. So you could take the regular D and then take your thumb and add it in on the low E second fret. And that's called a D slash F sharp, or a D major, but with F sharp in the bass. Or you may dig on a D sus slash F sharp by doing first finger on the low E second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, and kind of working that for your E. And then from there we go to an E major chord. And normally you do this first finger on the G first fret, second finger on the A second fret, third finger on the D second fret. And if you strum all those together, it sounds an E major chord. It sounds really, really happy. And then from the E we kind of end up back on our G chord. So if you're doing your downs, you may want to think B minor, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D slash F sharp, 2, 3, 4, and then E for A, and then G major for A. Or if you're doing your down, down, up, you may want to do just, or down, down, up, down, up. You may want to have half the B minor and A with just a down, down, up on each of those chords. G down, down, D slash F sharp, down, E major, G major. Or if you're digging on the 16th pattern, and this is kind of playing against the tune a little bit, you could do a down, 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 up on the B minor and A to half it. Kind of B minor, down, down, up, A, down, down, up, G, down, down, D slash F sharp, and then you'd have your whole pattern for the E and the G at the end. So you kind of play around with that. And then from that pre-chorus, then we go into our chorus part. And we heard these cool little licks around the D through the chorus part, where, and I was kind of doing this thumb, index, middle, kind of thumb on the D string, index on the B string, middle on the high E string, and it's kind of going from the D string to the E string to the B string and then back to the E string around the D chord. So it's kind of this D, E, B, E. It's kind of weird, kind of tricky. You may want to pause and just kind of, how does he do that? Thumb, middle, index, middle is what I'm doing. And so I'm starting on the D chord. You may want to lift the second finger for the D sus 2, same pattern, add in the pinky on the high E third for the D sus, and then go back to the D chord for that same pattern. So it starts out with kind of that D, and then we do that again, D, D sus 2, D suspended, and then D, and then we kind of go to a G major chord. And if you wanted to, you could even kind of work that as kind of that same melody idea, kind of second on the high E to open E to third fret on the high E around the G. So you could even change just the bass note to the low E third fret to kind of work that first part of that idea, kind of that G, and then kind of lifting off the first finger to get that open E to the third on the E, and then adding an open E string for the bass, kind of an E minor idea. You may want to do that for kind of that suspended kind of an idea, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, and then back to the G chord for the 2, 3, 2, 0, 3, 0, and then kind of a big hit on the E minor. So I was kind of digging on that. I think I'm adjusting the G and the E minor from what it is in the recording, but yeah, you may kind of dig on that. So the D, D sus 2, D sus, D, D sus 2, D sus, D, G, E minor, G, E minor. Or if you want to just kind of follow that with the strumming, you may want to even kind of add in the suspended chord actually kind of to your D strums. So on the D, you may want to kind of think 1, 2, 3 on the D, or 4 even, and then lift the second finger for the D sus 2, add in the D sus for 4, D for 4. So we kind of dig that as kind of a D lick through that chorus, kind of D, D sus 2, D sus, D, D, D sus 2, D sus, D, and then we got our G for 8, E minor for 8, G for 8, and then kind of our big hit on the E minor. Or if you're digging on the down, down, up, you have the D, down, up, down, and 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 G, E minor, G, and a big E minor. Or you could even throw in the suspended licks as part of the strum. So you can do the D with a down, down, and I was kind of digging on lifting for the D sus2 on the up, up, down, up. Or the D sus for the down, down. Or the D for the up, up, down, up. So we kind of dig on that too. D sus2, D sus2, D sus2, D, G, E minor, G, E minor. Or if you're digging on the 16th pattern, play around with that too, and you may want to do the D for the down, up, up, or the D sus2 for the down, up, up, down, up, down, up. D sus for the down, up, up. D for the down, up, up, down, up, down. So through the chorus that way. Then we go back into kind of our intro idea. One other thing I think about adding to the song though is more bass notes. So on the G, for instance, you could kind of add in the low E for your bass, and then kind of work your down, up, down, bass, down, up, down. On the E minor, you'd have low E for the bass. On the B minor, you have the A for the bass. And on the D, you normally have the D for the bass, unless you're doing the D slash F sharp, and then you'd have low E for the bass. And on the A, you'd have the A for the bass. E minor, you'd have low E for the bass. On the E major, you'd have the low E for the bass. So through our intro that way, you'd have kind of the G with low E bass, E minor with low E bass, B minor with an A bass, D with a D bass, G with a low E bass, E minor with low E bass, B minor with an A bass, D with a D bass. Or if you're digging on the 16th idea, you could work it as a bass, up, bass, up, down, down. So G, E minor, E minor, G, E minor, E minor, repeat that 4 times for our verse, and then we go back into our pre-chorus, and you can bring back those licks. If you were kind of digging on those, or if you wanted to add basses, you may even kind of dig on kind of the bass down up idea through the first chords until you get to the E major, and then you got kind of the bass down, down, up, and then the bass up, down, up on the G. Or what I was kind of digging on was a bass up idea, kind of B minor, A, G, D slash F sharp, E major, G. Or if you're digging on the 16th, you may want to work this kind of a bass down, up through that part. Bass down, D slash F sharp, E major, G. And then from there, we'll be going into our second chorus. And on the second chorus, instead of that last E minor, now we kind of have a big A hit actually to kind of help lead into the bridge. So we tried that with a bass down, up, down, up. We'd have the D with the D bass, D, G, E minor with low E bass, G with low E bass, and kind of our big A. Or if you're digging on the 16th, you have the D. Into our bridge part, and you could work that as kind of a bass down, up, kind of that B minor, if you're kind of digging on those licks, actually, some of the licks through this part really resemble the chorus idea. So what you may want to do is even kind of work that idea, kind of that thumb, middle, index, middle idea, but through the bridge part. And you could even shift strings, actually. I was kind of digging, going to the G string and the B string, and kind of working that same idea, kind of that B minor, G, B minor, G, B minor, G, E major, G major, E major, and then kind of that big G at the end. So you may want to kind of even experiment with that. I know in this lesson we're talking a lot of strumming options, a lot of fingerstyle options. So you may want to, especially if you're digging on the fingerstyle idea, you may want to kind of try and ride that out through the whole thing. And then from there, then we'll be going back into our verse idea. You really could work that any of those ways. You could work that bass down, up, down, up. E minor, E minor, D, the 16th idea. Other strum patterns or other licks around these chords too. You know, feel free to kind of take this lesson, kind of run with it any way you want to. So there's lots of ways to kind of mix it up and kind of make the tune your own a little bit. You end up repeating that idea kind of 6 times for our outro, and then you'll kind of hear a big D chord at the very, very end. But that's the basics of how you can strum through and kind of work some of the fingerstyle licks to Scar by Lucy Rose. So good luck!